Hey everyone, my name is Christian, and today we're going to be talking about family grouping and children. So, with that being said, we all have heard before that education starts at home. But how far does the influence from our parents and family members go with children? What if I told you that children who grow up in a large family group have a larger life perspective and are more likely to succeed in life because they have a greater access and exposure to life experiences? A study by Hamna and others on the impact of role models, mentors, and heroes have shown that the influence from family group goes a long way in the life of a child, influencing their interest in education, participating in risky behavior, confidence level, happiness, safety, and physical activity. Think about your family group and the influences that your family members have had on your life. Whether these influences were good or bad, we can all agree that we have a larger perspective and exposure to life experiences because of it. With that being said, I would like to state that family grouping lay the foundation of life. And by that, I mean that our family is usually where we start, where everything starts, everything that we start to learn, in a journal by Winchester titled Construction and Education, he states, indeed, the great construct comes to seem to be human language, and certainly the greatest of human creation is human language. And language is usually one of the first things that a child develops when he's growing up. He learns to speak the language that they speak at home, right? And that serves as a tool to communicate with other people. In another journal by Haldane titled Family Matter, he states the importance of families. He says, it is equally evident that families matter. One can say this confidently without any appeal to political or theological theories or analogies. Families are where things start for the mass of human beings. So everybody, whether your family is small or big, your family is where usually where everything starts, right? And from that on, we start to develop our own definition of what a family is. And usually a family is mainly defined as love, as in a study by Newman and others titled Concept of Family Among Children and Adolescents, Effects on Cognitive Level, Gender and Family Structure. They found that more than half of the subjects, so about 60%, used the affective criterion in their definition of family. In the families were defined as people who love and care for each other. So as people are growing, they are learning that a family needs to have love. Usually, that's the definition most people would give. So with that being said, that we start everything in our family, we can say that education, which is probably the next step for every human, education begins our home, right? So everything that we start to learn, we learn it our home. So in a study by Molfis and others, the role of environment in the development of reading skills, a longitudinal study of preschools and school age measures. This is a journal. They found that activities in the home characteristics, and parenting practices contribute to the development of children, cognitive abilities, both intellectual abilities and reading abilities. So the things that you learn at home have a great effect on the child, right? That same study also found that a child's environment is often cited as one source of influence in the development of intellectual skills. A strong correlation has been reported between various markers for home environment, socioeconomic status, maternal intelligence, characteristics of the home, and parenting practices, and performance on intelligence and other cognitive tests in childhood. So, the environment that the child grows up in has an influence on the way this child develops. So, if our home is one of the most influence environment that a child can have, we can also state that children learn best if they are taught by their family group. So if a child is being taught by their own parents or family members, these 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 um these children, they learn better. So in a journal by Bluestein, he states, young children are mainly creatures of impulse who are unable to defer immediately gratification of their desires, and in order to develop adequate internal controls, they must initially be controlled from without by parents or parent substitutes who set defined limits and back them up with firm and consistent disciplinary measures. So the parents or family members, they serve as as a measure to start teaching children limits, to start teaching children rules, so that they can learn to differentiate what they can do and what they cannot do, what is good and what is bad. Um, I mean, in another study, right, where people were teaching their kids in homeschool. So these people, uh, they chose consciously not to send their kids to a public school, but rather teach them at home. So this is a study by Patterson and many others. It's titled "Resisting Bureaucracy: A Case Study of Homeschooling." And this is what they found. They found that their children were socially well adjusted, performed well on standardized achievement and college admission tests, such as the ACT, and had no difficulty making transition to work or college. Those children, those whose children eventually entered public schools, were on par with their peers. In many cases, were ahead of the students in their class. So even though these children were being taught at home in a homeschool environment, they were able to learn all all that they were expected to learn in a public school, and in some cases they were even ahead of the kids that were being taught in a public school. So a lot of these things come from the study that also found that they they were taking the parents, they recognized that tailoring curriculum and instructional strategies to the children's interests foster success and capitalize on their intrinsic motivation. So the parents, they took a conscious move to teach their kids based on what they were drawn to, right? So children children view family members as mentors or role models. So in another study by Hemna and many others, titled "The Impact of Role Models, Mentors, and Heroes on Academic and Social Outcomes in Adolescents," they found that out of the study, about 70% identify having a role model, compared to 44% having a mentor and 30% having heroes, and family members were the most identified figures for each of them. So out of all of these three different choices, right, family members were always the top pick. So what else the study found? They also found that adolescents with family heroes had a safer behavior than those with celebrity heroes. Additionally, those with family or adult peers as their mentors had a higher interest in education. So these children who had a family member who is a mentor to them, they were more drawn to education. They also found that adolescents with family mentors also had a higher happiness score than those with the same age peer mentors, and engaged in safer behavior compared to all others. So the children who had family members as their mentors, they were more drawn to education, safer behavior, and they were more happy. So we can agree that family grouping lay the foundation for the starting life of a child. The influence from family members can shape the life perspective and decision that children make. We can all agree that family grouping are very important in the life of a child, especially in their growing stages from young children to adulthood. As a society, we can cultivate family grouping to help children be excellent members of society and help them succeed.